victory, not every trade of gold, but he's learned to weather storms, let the stories unfold with his eyes on the prize, his heart in the fray. Tebow stands tall at the end of the day. Not every trade of gold, but he's learned to weather storms, let the stories unfold.
All right, and welcome into Train and Trade. Again, for those of you that were here in the pre-presentation, we talked about all that great information on dti.com/telegram. More to come, by the way, so make sure you're involved with that. We've also got our YouTube audience coming in. Good morning to everybody on YouTube. Glad to see you guys there. If you want to be involved on that YouTube side, make sure you go to dtitrader.com/YouTube, like and subscribe to the videos, and comment in the chat. Let us know you're there. If you've got any questions, we'll do our best to get those answered while the presentation is ongoing. And yeah, Bob, I see you there, Caddis Guy. Great to see you. Wendy's in there. We got a few more people joining in, just getting started. So hope to see more and more of you jumping over to YouTube again. Like and subscribe. And if you do have questions, feel free to type them up in the chat. Now, I do have to say this. When we're talking about markets, there is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. Some of you might have noticed that this morning. You and you alone are responsible for all decisions that you make in the market. We'll do our best to help out, but again, past performance not necessarily indicative of future results, and not all trading fits to what you want to do as a trader. So make sure that you're assessing the situation and the risk for any trade that you're looking at. Everything is catered to you by you, so do your due diligence before you place a trade. But by all means, listen in and see what we're looking at, because we do have a lot to look at here today. Now, a couple of the big headlines. Crude opened at 93.31. They jumped up to 98.32. I need to change that, actually. They jumped up to 98.35 already today. So that's kind of a big run up. I know Tom was talking about, what was it, Tom, 92.55 yesterday? And obviously we're well above that. So we've got this thing moving. Now, DHS funding, here's a political thing that could impact the market later today. DHS funding passed through the Senate last night around 2 a.m. and is now going to the House. There are a couple of rules and procedures that they have to get through, but pay attention, because that could be, I don't know if it's going to be a big game changer. The market might have taken the game off, at least for this week. But that is a pretty big event. We'll see if it can affect the market. Iran, obviously, Iran is a big issue that could affect the market over the weekend. We have to be prepared for anything there. That's why Tom talks about his pocket puts all the time. We'll get to those in just a minute. Key levels in the market. Listen, the 69.11 quarter and the 68.20, based on this morning's move, probably off the table until at least next week, maybe next month. 67.1875, well, that's shooting further and further away. The week open at 65.10 is still a viable number to pay attention to, and we do have a new low in the S&P this morning at 64.5175. Let's get to it. Tom, we're going to get your opinion here, but hang on. I want you to hold that opinion. I want to come back to it, because I do want to tell people that if you were paying attention on Telegram, pocket put spreads, another two winners taken out today. All Services Trade Review. You can see the QQQ, May 21st, 520 to 515 debit put spread. Entry at 51, out at 70, 37% average return. That's $1,000 risk turns into $370 profits. And the April 30th, 515 to 510 debit put spread. Let me say that again just to make sure. April 30th, 515 to 510 debit put spread. Entry of 51 cents, out at 60 cents. That's 18%. That's 180 on $1,000 risk. So things are going well this morning, and not just this morning. So, Tom, how about this? Circle the wagons warning, pocket puts. You've been doing pocket puts all month long.
Yeah, and
And
in fact, we've got a cumulative slide. I hope Jonathan's got it in here, but it just shows the power of it. We entered our first one on February 27, have continued cycling through them ever since. Here's the whole story. And I need to ask the question because I'm doing a lot of work to help you here. How many people are taking these trades? Give me a yes or send me a love letter or do something to acknowledge the fact I'm handing you money. I mean, if you just do $1,000 on each of these trades, you're looking at a lot of money I've handed you this month. And, you ought to be taking advantage of it. I'm not just throwing these out there to show out. I'm trying to help you because I know a lot of you have taken a hit here in March because of the problems that we've had in this market. And it's been a tough market, I'll tell you. I just think that if you're making money here, I'm doing my job and you're doing yours by taking it, okay? And it's one thing for us to celebrate this, but it's not no fun if you're sitting there on the sidelines twiddling your thumbs. And in the South, we say it's something else. But anyway, the bottom line is you ought to be taking these trades when we put it out. When I do it, the odds are extremely in your favor. That doesn't mean every one of them is going to win, even though after saying that, every one of them has won. And, I got on one of those trades, I got asked 4 times, do I get out? No, you stay in these things and I will put them in again, okay? I will put these in again and before the day's close. Now, does everybody understand why I'm using pocket put strategy? You know what my key indicator is? My key indicator is the VIX. Is the VIX less than 20? Go check it. You know how to check it? It's /VX. The VIX right now, okay? The VIX is at 27. It's not even close to 20. So I'll be putting it back in this afternoon. I'm trying to make you some money if you'll listen. Now, if anybody didn't take it, tell me you didn't take it. And if you had a good reason, that's okay. And look at what Marianne did. She pulled in 5 big grand this morning. A lot more where that came from.
yeah, Tom, we're getting some great messages in the chat right now and reposting those in. Art up 66%. So yeah, not just the pocket puts. There's a lot going on in the market. We certainly encourage everybody to pay attention to it. The VIX is VIXing. I mean, this is what you get with the closeout market. We talked about that starting to end the month of March and how everything becomes a little bit heightened. Market had the opportunity to turn this thing around, and basically the message we got this morning when the market failed to get above your pivot number that you posted was, "Hey, not interested. March is done." I know we still got 2 more days, and I know anything can happen. We got that DHS funding bill if something happens with Iran. So big news could change things. But right now, the message I got from the market, it's done. March kaput. We're, I think traders are already looking forward to April, but I know you've got more in plan because we're going into the weekend. And Tom, I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm sure you are, but every time we've come into a Sunday in March, remember, futures markets open Sunday night. Every time we've come into a Sunday in March, it's been an average 50 points lower than where we closed the previous week. So pocket puts seem like a pretty good idea to me, given that statistic.
Yeah, and one of the things about the pocket put, I decided a long time ago. Somebody said, "Tom, you ought to make this a service." And I said, "I'm not making it a service. What I'm saying to you, thank you for being part of my services, because this way you're getting some money put in your pocket by my knowledge. I can manage it during periods of market turmoil, and we'll keep doing it until the market changes. Now, I do have some. I think I've got some news for people, and I can't tell you exactly what it is for verbatim, but after I release it on Sunday night, if you're trading with anybody else, you ought to shoot yourself. This thing is going to put everybody out of business. And listen.
Yeah, and Tom, just to go back to the pocket puts,
no, hold on, Chuck. Yeah. I just said something they ought to write down. Okay, I've got something I've been working on under lock and key, and you're really gonna have to be there Sunday night to be there. So that's at 8 o'clock. I just want to tell everybody that.
Yeah, definitely don't want to miss any point of the live presentations, whether it be Sunday night or even yesterday, Tom. You threw out pocket puts yesterday in the room. You can see the trade right here. Live trading with T-Buzz yesterday. Trade review, May 1st, 435 put. This wasn't really a pocket put. This was just
this goes in line with that statement I made. When I say circle your wagons, this would circle your wagons on steroids. People paid to be in that room. People were able to go make another additional 25% because when I put things out, you read it and good. And let me just tell you something. I want to give you something else before I forget it. We've gone from the stage of tweets, verbatim, and that kind of stuff. The market is not going to move like it did in the past. They're only going to move on action. I believe if we take over, I don't know when this is going to happen. We better be taking it over, the Strait of Hormuz. When we take that over, that is going to be a huge time for me to step in with what I talked to you this week about put selling and that kind of stuff. So that's coming quicker than we think. He gave us the end date today when he said he was going to China in May. So you're going to start seeing a closing in on all the objectives, I think. Okay, that's my take, my opinion. I went long, I went hard, but we got reasons to celebrate. Everybody else over there losing their butt, not us. Not us if you listen.
Yeah, it brings up a great point. Those that listen have had a great morning, and there is more to come. So are you guys ready for our train and trade presentation today? Because man, if it has been this good up to this point, it's only going to get better from here. And Tom, as you mentioned, Sunday night. But hey, it's not Sunday yet. We've got more market in front of us. So let's get into this thing. Train and Trade is every Monday through Friday of the month of March at 11 a.m. Eastern. 2 more sessions in March. And if you guys really like this, let us know. We might even go a little bit further. I'm making promises.
On, Chuck. Tell Adam to go send a reminder, get people in here because I'm about to get in some stuff they don't want to miss. Okay.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah, tell him to send stuff. Say, get in this room.
Okay, let's see. Message sent. All right. So let's go through and Adam or Tom, just to let you know, Adam has acknowledged that message. I think he might be listening in. Good to see you, Adam. Reminder that all trades in Train and Trade are tracked through T-Buzz Talk and Trade. You go to dtitrader.com/TNT to follow along with us there. We certainly hope to see you guys. And also the YouTube live sessions. Make sure you're following along there, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Like and subscribe. Now, we got a few things that you can look at to really get an idea of what's going on with the market. The new options education resource is available to everybody at dtitrader.com/optionsedu. Adam's done a great job setting that up. We encourage everybody to go and check it out. He's been tweaking things, making it better and better. So if you've got any suggestions, let us know. A couple more resources, and we're going to have a few more coming up additionally next week. But Tom's first book, Winning the Day Trading Game, DTI White Paper Booklet, the YouTube page. Again, like and subscribe. Important terms to know. This is a professional endeavor. We use the professional language. You might hear us throw out certain terms as we go through, like for instance, pocket puts. If you'd like to know what those are, make sure you check out important terms to know. Tom Busby's penalty tape that helps us get back on the beaten path when the market seems to be getting ahead of us or when we seem to be getting ahead of it. You've got to stay disciplined in this endeavor, and sometimes to get back to that discipline you need, you got to go and listen to that penalty tape. That's why it's called the penalty tape. Get back on the beaten path. Options EDU by DTI available, and Tom's B&N interview. Now, we're going to go and look at the March FTD stocks. Now, follow along with me. You can just click that link right in the slide. Although I need to make sure, have you guys all got access to the slides? If not, let me just go through, and I want to share this link with everybody because I think it's important that you follow along. Let's go ahead and post these slides up here. There you go, and just click that March FTD right there. That's going to bring you into the spreadsheet that Jonathan keeps up. This will be the same link when we go to April. We'll archive the March link, and well, the link will remain the same, but we'll archive the March information. And at this link, we'll have the April information. So make sure you stay tuned there. And let's see, Jonathan is actually still putting things together. So I'm going to run through this with you guys. Tom, the VIX, and you can see Jonathan updated this at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. We'll probably get an update in a few minutes here, but wow, it was up at 29. That is not heading towards 20, much less anywhere below 20. The VIX moving in the wrong direction if you want to be bullish in this market. So we're continuing on this circle the wagons attitude. And as what was it you said, Tom? Circle the wagons even more. What was the updated version?
On steroids.
Circle the wagons on steroids. Can you get any higher than that? Because if I think we get above 30, we need something above steroids.
Yeah, gone nuclear.
There you go. All right, so keep an eye out for that. Uh, NYICDX. This is kind of a new one. What is this, Tom?
I'm sorry. What are you asking me?
The NYICDX.
That's a dollar.
That's the dollar. Okay. All right. Cash dollar. I'm so used to seeing futures. I guess I should have noticed the DX at the end there, and of course the price 99.94. So that's moving a little bit long above the FTD high, and keep a close eye there. Now, the S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, Dow futures, these markets are definitely not moving up. Uh, we've got the updates there at 64.64 for the S&P. We're down to 59. The low set earlier this morning was 51.75, but we're definitely below the FTD low. Below the FTD low for the NASDAQ, for the Dow, those markets not moving higher. Crude futures, we're on the May contract, K26. And earlier this morning, they were at 97.24. Right now, they're up at 98. Made it up to 98.35 earlier today. We've got gold. And gold, I think we need an update on that because we're on the June contract now. Let's see. I'm just looking at the FTD high and low, and we're going to be below that FTD low. June gold trading at 45.78 as we speak. So a little bit higher than what you're seeing on the current, and that is because we have rolled contracts. So
Let me just give you on a June contract right now, Chuck. I'm using 45. It's a June contract. I'm using a pivot number of 40, 45, 55. in the June contract as a pivot.
June gold 45.55 pivot. Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like a pretty good pivot number. We're above that right now. We'll see if the market's able to stay there. We'll come down to silver, which is still in the May contract, K26. It was 68.71 earlier. It is up a little bit, 71.45 right now. Open today at 68.40, but still notice it's not showing up long. These markets, these commodities, pushing down a little bit. Bonds, Bitcoin, ZS. Is that the
That's soybeans.
soybeans? Okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
let me talk about
soybeans.
corn a second.
Yep.
Corn, how many people remember last week when I said you ought to join my Futures First? Anybody remember me talking about that last week? And I had a special 90-day plan for everybody. Y'all remember that? And what did I say? I said, folks, we're about to go into a stage of corn, and it's going to go higher and make money with it. And I showed people Monday. So if you'd have bought last week and say took a corn trade, you already got a scholarship on that. And you say, well, Tom, how did you know? Well, the numbers justified it, but there's also some fundamental things going on. Does anybody know what the day is at the White House? The day at the White House? It's called Agriculture Day. And so with this being the day at the White House and the numbers justifying it last week, we got to learn about corn. To me, it was an odds-on favorite. Let's make some corn, right? And I like corn, by the way. I hope you like corn. But did anybody in my Futures First take that trade that I talked about Monday night? I'm seeing some yeses there. Scholarship 1, scholarship 2, scholarship 3, scholarship Bob, shame on you. Shame on you, Bob. Way to go. You didn't need to paper trade it, John. Not if I'm giving it to you. If I'm educating you.
Yeah, Tom, Marge points out corn in the E85 for vehicles. We're not quite summer driving, but when the press goes for the ethanol in that E85, and that typically picks up for summer driving, is that only going to make corn more interesting?
Well, first of all, corn is I call it a monthly trade. Personally, that's what McFarland taught me. And you got to know about these reports. There's a report, you're all right to date down on corn. You don't want to be in corn on April 9th. Circle that date. They have a monthly report that comes out. It rocks the boat. Everybody acknowledge you. I just warned you about April 9th. Okay. You got to avoid corn. And that's part of the USDA monthly report. Okay. And I think that you got to be aware of that date. Okay. April 9th. That report cost me a lot of money in my past. That's one thing. If I'm trading corn, I got to know when that date is. Okay. April 9th. But that doesn't mean you can't cook a little bit more corn. Anyway, I just want to bring it out there by how good it was.
All right. So
and it really highlights one last thing about my Futures First. It really highlights the power of what you learn, and I can educate you on each week because we have 52 sessions a week, 52 sessions a year, and it's pretty. I think it's just pretty good for people to learn stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just the corn market. We've got a few others, but
I just focus on what's going. Where odds are so extreme that even novices can get in there and have some fun.
Yeah, definitely. April 9th, by the way, coming up pretty soon, so mark that on your calendar. USO, they're doing well. Of course, that is an oil ETF. Is that the best way to phrase that?
Yeah, that's it. Matches up crude oil. It's an ETF. It's pretty volatile, and it does trade. We discussed it yesterday as an offset for crude futures, is USO. I find that sometimes it leads, sometimes it trails, but when you got both USO and crude together, you got a good, probably a good, uh, you got a good setup.
Yeah, now as we move through our stocks, Tom, we're not seeing a whole lot popping up long, right?
Why is that, Chuck?
I probably because the broader market made a new low of the year today. I'm just guessing. Like,
All right, here's a test, Chuck. I asked Jeff, he didn't know the answer. I'm going to ask you if you know. Where was the S&P on January the 20th of 2025?
wow.
You
Off the
know off
top
the
of
top
my
of your
head,
head?
no, I don't know. I think
I'll
we
save
opened.
everybody a lot of time. It
Yeah,
was 61.62. What's significant about 61.62? January 20th of 2025. Anybody know?
I think I know the answer.
Type the answer in there if you know the answer. January 20th, 2025. What's significant about that date? January
I
the 20th, 19 or 2025.
Lori got it.
That's right.
Well,
That was the day President Trump took office. So right now, 61.6, that's the big number during the 4 years you got to keep up with. Okay. And we're even down here, these lows, 60, what were we, 64.78. Uh, still, that's the number, that's the measurement number. Okay.
yeah.
Did
So as
anybody know that off the top of their head? That's something I taught years ago, and I didn't know if you knew about it, but that is a big number in the world of finance. If you know what you're looking at, a lot of people won't know. You can test people; they won't know.
Yeah, so let's see. John actually typed something in, just kind of echoing what you're saying. I'm going to go ahead and post that into the chat. I thought it was. Hang on. Copy and paste. There we go. Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I typically would look at the open of the year, but I'll be honest with you, Tom. You know how everybody says you and I know numbers just off the top of our head? A little secret to everybody. We don't. We just know where to go and find them.
There you go. There is the secret. And you got to know the dates to go look for too, right? So
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So
anyway, I wanted to
anybody.
share that with everybody because it's a number that we need to know, and I think having it like we have it now, you know.
Yeah, and so guys, if you're ever sitting back thinking, well, how do I use numbers the way these guys do? All it takes is knowing those dates, as Tom pointed out, and then you can just pull up a chart. You go to barchart.com, use their free service, and pull up a chart, find out what the open was on a specific date last year, or even going back, Tom, I think you can go back about 20 years.
And
So,
on the roadmap, you can go get it too. So that makes a lot of sense to do it right off the chart. Just change it to a weekly, then go down to the thing and get it off it.
yeah, definitely. Roadmap software. We've got several different data feeds that we're looking at. Easy to do research in the market. You just need to know where to look and how to look. And yeah, the roadmap keeps me up to date on present time. But let's go ahead and take a look at these stocks here. So I'm looking through this list and I'm going to keep scrolling down the list until I see something that says long. And we are still scrolling. And we are still scrolling.
Did you say this is a circle your wagon type market?
Yeah, let's see. BTU. We got one, Tom. We got one.
There it is.
So BTU above the FTD high. Wait, I'm sorry. I got to go back up through that. Okay, so we got a couple commodities here: uh, wheat, corn, oil, crude, the VIX, the dollar, and BTU.
Yeah, take a wild guess what sector of the market BTU is in.
Energy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll bet, Jonathan, if we threw XLE in here, we might see something there. Just we talked about ETFs yesterday. I'll have to go back, and for anybody that wants to do the research after we're done with today's presentations, this one and the further ones we've got out today, go to youtube.com or go to dtitrader.com/YouTube. You can check back into yesterday's live train and trade. And if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan, you covered several ETFs, including XLE yesterday. So again, it's not what you remember, it's where you remember to find what you need to remember. And not only in the charts, but also in the live performances in the live performance tab at dtitrader.com/YouTube. All right. Jonathan's going to take everything over from here because we've got a little bit more information to give you. And what are we looking at?
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. And Tom, I know you want to go live, but before we go live and before we go into today's topic, I just wanted to post this to, one, make sure everybody saw it. We posted it in all the Telegram channels yesterday. And two, we wanted to get your feedback. Did you appreciate Tom sending out this message? I talked to Tom and I said, hey, do we need to send out a message to everybody? And he said, absolutely, send this out. So give us a yes, give us a thank you in the chat if you appreciated this message we sent out yesterday. If you were confused about the market, hopefully this got you on, thinking the right way. All right. But you'll see us do this from time to time when things get, out of hand, or Tom expects things to get out of hand. We will do this. We'll keep you informed. Tom's live an awful lot, right? He's live an awful lot. So you get face-to-face interaction with Tom through Zoom an awful lot, but we can also reach you on Telegram too, very, very quickly and very efficiently, really. Everybody can see this on Telegram, whether you're in a live Zoom session with us or, even if you're out and about shopping or something like that, you get this on Telegram. And thanks for the feedback you're giving us in the chat.
Yeah, because it's not so much did you make money, but did you stop losing money? And that's what this message was about, because this was a dangerous market, and we were very aggressive yesterday to take advantage of that. We got paid this morning. Now we got to watch it and let it develop again. Again, I said we've gone from the word stage, from what we hear, to the action stage. I don't think the market's going to react like it has in the past to the words. You got to see action. That's what I think. Okay. And I gave you the big event I'd like to see.
Oh, Tom, one more thing I want to put out there in terms of news and how it affects markets. Next week, Europe, like the US, will be on daylight time. So we get back to synced time frames. I think that's going to really sharpen up our reference bars and uh, give you greater results than what you've already been seeing, because we know that the results through March have been great. They're going to be even better next week with the time syncing up.
So Tom, do you want to go live to the live market?
I really would like to.
Okay, let's do it. I'll throw up a big chart of the S&P futures here on a 30-minute basis.
All right, so we're entering a very key time period. It's called Genesis. And in fact, you can see we're trading inside RB3 with a little breach to the downside where they bought it. That number was 64.55, it looks like, 64.55. So they're going to try the very best they can to put a low in. So the number that you really got to watch is that break. What was that low break? 94.55, right?
64.55 is.
Yeah, I'd go to 64.45. You break that, and it's going to probably get ugly.
Okay, 64.45.
That's where I would think the break would come. Got a lot of work to go up. You probably could get a rally. Let's see. Got the resistance at the top of RB3. What's that number, Jonathan? 6,500?
Might as well be it. It's 64.95, but for good measure, 6,500. Get above
Yeah,
that.
6,500. The next level of resistance is the low right there. What's that number?
RBZ low from yesterday was 65.20, Tom, and 22 was a low from RB2 this morning.
Yeah, 65.17. Remember I told you that fast market? Has anybody ever heard that term before, fast market? It used to be what we traded quite a bit, back in my Globex days. But if you ever have a fast market, you want to look at the range. We had two fast markets this week of note. We had one on Monday morning. The low was 265.05 and the high was 67.50. Today we broke below that range. Yesterday afternoon, we had another fast market at 4 o'clock, and the range was 65.95 high and a low of 65.17. And you notice how we've been trading below that number. And since I've given you all that, I might as well give you the QQQ fast market numbers. 579.80, 579.80 was the high, and 573.14 was low. And see, we're down at 568. It's very important to, when you see these fast markets, to have those numbers. I did it for stocks, I did it for everything. And for example, NVIDIA's fast market was 172 to 171. Clue, started trading below that number. NVIDIA went down today to a low, and currently NVIDIA is at 169. Okay, you can use these fast markets to make a lot of money, and pretty good stuff. Yeah, you can do pocket puts in the NASDAQ with options. Absolutely, Peg, you can.
Hey, Chuck, talk a little bit about, it's a good part. We have a new member in the chat that's very active in the chat. We appreciate you being very active. But Chuck, talking about the difference between the S&P futures and the SPX cash, and why we tend to track the SPX, or excuse me, the ES futures, the S&P futures over the SPX.
Well, okay, so one of the big reasons we're looking at the futures instead of the cash is because number one, you've got a 24-hour market there, so it, it's a beast. The futures market. It's actually the S&P futures market is one of the most widely traded markets in the world. It's one of the deepest markets in the world. It is just an incredible marketplace. And again, futures versus cash, we look at futures to tell us what to reasonably expect. But in most cases, futures are going to be trading at a premium to the cash market. So let's see, John was asking about that. I kind of addressed that. So yeah, if you hear S&P, and we want to basically talk about the E-mini S&P futures contract. When we say S&P, that's what we're talking about. So there is a bit of a premium, so the cash market's going to be a little bit lower. Same's true for the Dow Industrial Average. The Dow futures are going to be a little bit higher than that. The Nasdaq 100, Nasdaq futures will be a little bit higher than that. Now we have had times, and Tom, you and I have seen this, where the futures markets are actually trading below the cash in what we call discount trading. And if we get to that, that's scary. That's where you get things like capitulation out of the market. So we still have a premium there, and it's actually a good thing. But in terms of, what we're seeing in the market, the short term that we're talking about is a negative market. But when you get into that longer view, as Tom mentions, we're still above that inauguration pivot. We're still above last year's open. We're still above the open of July last year. The market still has some things going for it. It's just moving in the wrong direction right now. So you always want to watch that premium, the distance between the future and the cash. And if you're not watching the futures, you don't know that that premium is there. So even if you're still making all your trading decisions in cash, which is what most investors tend to do, um, by all means, pay attention to the futures market because that premium, it means a lot.
All right, good deal. Thanks, Chuck. So, Tom, what do you want to look at next?
Okay, let's do mini. Why don't we look at the QQQ?
QQQ. All right. There's the QQQ.
Well, you can tell we're at a critical time on the QQQ. What's that high, Jonathan? 69.87?
Yeah, the high of the Genesis bar right now is 569.67. Right.
Yeah, and then the high RB3 is what, 570?
571.
There's your resistance point, what I just gave you on the QQQ. And the low is what, Jonathan?
RB3 low was 566.40.
What's the low of Genesis?
Low of Genesis is 567.58.
Okay. Again, I will remind everybody, and we got a special announcement, stay to the end. Remind everybody, I will be putting pocket puts on again today. Okay. Now that's the QQQ. I think that's, let's put silver in there, SLV, SLV. What's that high, about 64.90 or whatever?
64
to the left.
70. This high right here.
Come over to the left, Jonathan, and take that red bar high and tell me where that number is. No, it's not that one. Over a little bit further to the left.
Wow, there's a bunch of red bars. Is that what this one?
That one there. Yeah, what's that high?
65.36.
65.30. We set an alert for me there.
65.36 alert going in on SLV.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, do we look at crude oil? We haven't looked at crude oil, have we?
Crude oil.
Okay, let's start out with 95.55 and work our way up.
Draw a line there. Give me just a minute. That's about 95.55.
All right, then come up to the high of RB3.
The high of RB3 this morning, 97.86.
Okay, then the high of the day.
High of the day is 98.34.
Make it 98.55.
Okay, 98.55.
Folks, that's the playing field for crude right now. So obviously, it's back a little bit away. Genesis is going to be important to watch, and the low of Genesis is what?
Low of Genesis was 97.08.
Yeah, that'd be support down there. So you got 9708. Let's go from the top to the bottom. Jonathan, read the numbers to everybody. We can write them down.
We got 98.55. We got 97, call it 90. We got 97.10 or 97.04 is what we'll say. 97.04. And we got 95.55. Four key numbers today on crude oil futures.
Yep. Okay, John, let's go back to our slides.
Yep, 1 second. Okay, Tom, I know you wanted to talk about the automated systems again today.
Yeah. And I didn't see the slides, Jonathan, that showed how we've done this year. Is that in here or where is it?
You talking about for the entire year?
Yeah, the entire year. I'd like to do that before I get into this, make a statement.
Okay. Well, you give me a few minutes, I will get that added because I need to quickly update it. The profits book this morning.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to go back live and Chuck show a few more things
No,
back
why don't we
live.
tell you, why don't I just talk in general, how long you need?
Probably just a few minutes.
Okay. You know, what I'm always striving to do, being on this end of the conversation, I'm striving to figure out the best way to help you. So we're going into April, okay? One of the things that everybody likes, because I'm sure you're taking these slides and printing it off, is printing it out. So we probably ought to, Chuck, you know, since we have people coming in at different times, we ought to have about 3 times we do that, because they shouldn't have to ask about 3 times through the presentation or be posted for people, because I get it, because it's hard to see some of these slides on the computer, especially if you're a little older. And so I think we ought to do that at least 3 times, maybe at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end. What other things would you like us to focus on? You know, we get so caught up in the short term, you know, we're thinking long term, swing, and we're just trying to figure out a way to make some money. So what are the things you think you need from us? Why don't you list them? And Chuck, as they list those inputs, why don't you write them down, and we'll develop our study plan for train and trade in April. So just get, Peg wants tax advantage trades. Okay, thank you, Peg. We'll cover that. Okay, how to track rotation. Are you talking about for different sectors? Is that what you're talking about? Different sectors? Okay, write that down. How to track money flow per sector. Talk slower. I've never, you know, being from the South, I've never had somebody tell me to talk slower. But I'm happy to hear that.
I get it all the time, Tom. Apparently, I get a little bit too excited about what we're covering. I mean, listen, this is exciting stuff.
Yeah, Wendy wants us to teach you how to find your own pivot numbers. And that would be helpful. Put that in there.
Right. Institutional money flow, that's always nice.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a great video somewhere in YouTube on Delta, Wendy. If you have trouble finding it, let us know. We'll get it to you. Dave, the algo is stocks I'm watching. In that 3-day algo, I give you the stocks I'm watching.
Yeah, and if you're looking for the link to that 3-day algo sheet, let me go ahead and post that in there.
If Philip would like a course on building futures and futures options with pocket puts, we'll do that for a lesson, Philip, inside our futures.
Let's see what else have we got.
What else you got? Sure, have we covered everything else under the sun? Because for something free that we do here, I think we go over the top with the information we give you. And well, I think John wants to know how to pick a reasonable target. We'll probably ought to talk about where to enter, where you're wrong, and where the target should be. Typically, that's embedded in the roadmap, but we'll go into the explanation of how to do it at some point.
Do the same rules apply for NASDAQ pocket puts? So I guess NASDAQ QQQ, that goes back to the futures options only version of pocket puts. So I think that would be in that. Of course, Wendy, thank God for roadmap. I agree. I listen, if we didn't have the roadmap software, Tom and I have done this before without the roadmap software.
It's just no fun.
No, no fun at all. We had to call up a programmer and say, "This is what we want." Of course, I love the guy, Tom. What was his line? If you can think of it, I can write it. And we looked at him and said, "You have no idea what can of worms you just opened up." But hey, he's been as good as his word.
The actual words was, he told me if I could dream it, he could write it.
Exactly.
He did. All you see is that dream. Anyhow, from a trader's perspective. Okay. Just to make sure that you've heard me say I'm usually right 4 out of 5 times. To make sure that statement's true, we track everything I do publicly and we post it. Jonathan keeps up with it, quite a little book work. But in January, we're about 78%. I call that close enough for government work. Sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes it's a little less. But that to me is something that tells me. And then I study, what I study? I don't study my winners. I study my losers. Say, well, why did I lose money? And in fact, this is where my 72-hour option rule came from, because I couldn't, during a real strong bull market, we got a lot of trades on, and you have to do a little bit on yourself. And I figured the best way to do that with time in trade. And that's 72 hours. That's where that rule came from, 72 hours. Because people would ask me a month down the road, and I took profits, and they missed me taking profits. And I felt bad. I said, well, look, let's put it on you. You put that trade on 72 hours, and let's not make you money, get out of it. Or ask me if I'm lying. That was January. February was 76. I'd say it's still within the boundaries. 8 losers, 29 winners, 1 break even in February. when Jonathan showed me this for March, and I did 24 trades, 4 of them losers, I was shocked because of the way the market was moving. I said, there's no way I'm going to keep my percentages up. I was so disciplined that on trades I gave you, I mean, it was like they had almost be at the high end of what I thought was a great trade to do it. But that is, I don't know anybody else has this kind of track record in this market, because this market's been tough. Okay. $79% for the year. Now, you got to say to yourself, this is real money. This is real action. There's nothing made up about it. This is being able to put trades on, taking off through a service or real time or through one of our products. I don't know anybody that does this. If you want to see how valuable it is, being one of our students, take $1,000 and go through $1,000 commitment on every trade and go through this with 21% losers. Because the losers, and I'll have that figured out, but I think it's going to come somewhere around 25% maybe overall average. But we're making people a lot of money that listen. Just make a strong enough argument, even for those that are not listening, where they won't make that same mistake when we go to April. So let me ask that question again. If you didn't take all these trades, if you didn't take these trades, are you going to make a commitment today to do what's necessary to be profitable in April? Can't do anything about what happened in the past, but we can do what we're going to do in April. That's our story. Okay. Carol says, count me in. All right. You know, every trade's not a winner.
Now, Tom, before we get into the automated systems at DTI, do you want to just barrel right through, or do you want to take 5 minutes, stretch your legs, or what you think?
I don't know. Ask them. What do y'all want? Y'all need a 5-minute break when we keep going? All right, let's take a 5-minute break.
5-minute break. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Now, Tom mentioned earlier he's got a really special deal at the very end today. Never before offered before. So you want to stick around to the end, but we'll be back in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and I'll put a timer up so you know exactly when we're coming back. All right, Tom, let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. All right, automatic, folks, the way I can have that record is it's like I got these research assistants called automation helping me find these trades. Does everybody understand it? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. So I can't keep up with all this stuff. I'm just like you, I'm human. I use the technology though with strategies that I know that are going to pay. And it's automated analysis. And what I did, it took me a long time to build this with the team. We got it. And let me tell you, this is where the majority of my success is coming from right now. Because again, it's a very, very valuable thing to know when to get in, when to get out, and keep up with the key tickers that are moving the market. But guess what, folks? The market's just not one analysis at 10 in the morning. It's around the clock. So you have to have a 24-hour analysis that's updated throughout the day. That's what you're about to see. Now, this is a program that I developed with Jonathan to take advantage of what I would call the diversification of being long or being short. This is based on a formula that I've been using for years in the bond market. Bond market is a very complicated market, but I simplified it, and TLT is a perfect vehicle to take advantage of. And you can see that we took profit this morning at a 40% return. What does that mean? That means if you put $1,000 up, you just got a scholarship. Isn't that pretty good? If you made that anchor trade, hats off to you. That's another win. If you're here about making money and learning, we've got a master class to die for in that one. And with the volatility, it's wore a lot of people out. It's wore me out. Goodness gracious. 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, all this volatility wears you out. You think you're making money, and the next thing you do, you look up there and you're losing money. Historically, this ticker has very low volatility, but we figured out a way at a certain time, a certain window, that if it did all the work, a lot of work goes into this, but if it would deliver to us the exact option to buy or the exact option to play the market up or down during this small window of time, we didn't have to day trade it, we could overnight it. So small people could do it. I call it buy it at wholesale, sell it retail. And that's explained in detail in our master class. The Anchor Club, if you're part of it, you love it. Since inception, it averages about one trade every 5 days. 85% accuracy is not bad, better than what I can do by myself without the computer. That's pretty good. When it analyzes all that data, completes the research, our team concluded this was a trade everyone should have access to. Now, here's 5 reasons why. When you call this market a different type market, so that's number 1, is right at the top of the list. It's designed to work whether the market goes up, down, or sideways. Consistency is always important to me, and accuracy is important, so it's got that. The losses are not total losses. They're mitigated losses if it doesn't work. We know as early as next morning. Very simple to put on. New people can do it. This is a great way to start, even for beginners. Now, anchor trades are small account friendly. Pretty good average. It scans, it sets it up. Not hard to understand. Just pretty, pretty simple stuff, really. When does it kick off? 12:05. Gives you detail. Buy the open. In this case, it was a put. Sell to 86. This spread mitigates your risk. And the next day you close it at 97 cents. Can't get better than that. Entered wholesale at 69 cents. That's a 40% return. If you made that trade, I know you're smiling. What a trade. Good way to finish the month. Now let us know in the chat if you took that trade. Give me a big yes if you did. Have a private room you go to. John did it and got his first win, new customer. Most of the time you set the trade and forget it, and it's really just set it and look at it the next morning is what I do. That's a lot of people made a lot of money off anchor. Way to go. Now, if you want to buy anchor, you can buy anchor right now. But hold up, because when I get to the finish, you're going to get the deal of a lifetime. Okay? Go and buy it individually, do it. But I want to go through all of these. That's anchor. The sunrise signal. How many people sleep at night? I'm asking that question. How many people sleep at night and then you wake up and go, man, I gotta get busy. This market didn't do what I thought it done. Did it ever happen to anybody here? Happens most days. Go to bed, wake up next day, you got a different world. Well, I developed Sunrise to get numbers out of Sunrise where I'd have instant explanation of what happened overnight and use that to start out my day. It's a full sunrise experience. Happens, starts about 7 in the morning, goes through 10. Right inside the channel, gives me the key information. Don't have to search for alerts or everything. So if the market's way down at night and way up in the morning, I got numbers right away. They're accurate. It's pretty good stuff. Now, let me ask you a simple question. If you were to identify the current market as bullish or bearish, what would you choose if you had a choice between those two questions? Bullish or bearish? See what everybody said. Peg says bear. I agree with Peg. All right. Now, if you look at the numbers, I want to get your eyes focused on the QQQ. Does everybody see that 69 or what is it, 569.96 right there? Everybody see that number? Give me a yes. So I pull that number and I say, how are we trading when I get ready to trade? That's one of my key numbers every day. So I go look at the QQQ and it's at 567. That's bearish, just below that number. Does everybody see how to use that? And you can do it for stocks too. Go back, Jonathan, that other slide is showing something else, okay? Let's look at gold. See gold at 406.70 right there? There's your pivot number for gold. Gold right now is 416. That alone pays for anchor by buying a Delta 50. Pretty good stuff. How about Tesla? Look at it. Pretty good stuff. A lot more than what most people realize how valuable it is. Next week, we're going to have a master class on Sunrise to develop some extra credit work for everybody. Next week. And it gives you, there's a big push down, be careful. Basically what I told you yesterday, that's what the technical stuff said. Right on. That's Sunrise, but it's all automatically done. You know it's there. And then we get to about 10 o'clock and it tells you whether you got to trade or not. It tells you which option to buy, how to do it, and expected hold time. And using the 72-hour rule. In other words, I don't have to call Jonathan, he has to give it to you. He gives it to you automatically. That's pretty valuable right there alone. Now, if you want Sunrise, go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532. All right, let's keep going. Genesis. I think with train and trade being here during Genesis time period, people are starting to understand, man, I need that Genesis automation because goodness gracious. I mean, it's explaining everything up to the minute here at this time. Look at the number on the spot. It opened at 651, 649. It's at 639. Hold on, stop it right there. Yesterday, y'all remember me getting you short in live trading yesterday? I had a conversation with a customer and I said, when I got short, he sent me a note, said, Tom, I got short off Genesis. I looked, I said, yeah, he was an hour ahead of me. That trade we sold today for $1.25, he probably bought at 95 cents. That's Genesis working overnight, keeping you ahead of the game. The argument is, you can't keep up with all this stuff. I can't keep up with it, and I've got experience of 40 years. So valuable. $10. That'd pay for a lot of things. The beautiful thing about this time of day, you got pure America here, folks. We got pure America. So how does it work? Just ask people that have it. Type in if you got it and you love it like I do. Entry price, profit target, stop loss. I see a bunch of loves appearing. It goes through the big boys. They called that gold trade. Look at that gold. Got to pay attention. Right there for you to read. Don't have to talk to anybody. You look right there. learn a few simple steps. Next thing you know, you're knocking it dead with Genesis. Now, I've told people Genesis marks the high and low every day during this time period. That's good information to have as an insight. Most days you don't break out from here. That's why I tend not to be a buyer of options in the afternoon on normal environment. But when we do, it's time to trade. When you get the signal, lays it right out for you, tells you what to do, where you're wrong, about 25% from where you get in, go for it. That's the beautiful thing about it. So go to Genesis if you want it, dtitrader.com/Genesis or call 904-706-3532. Now, if you've been around me for over a minute, you know I love trading the QQQ. Generally speaking, I'm going to in the QQQ just about every day. I'm always looking for an opportunity on the QQQ. That's why I pointed out on Sunrise that number, because I'm starting there looking all the way here. But the QQQ, so I said to myself, I got this one program called One Ticker, and it does about one trade a week on average. The One Ticker does. The track record's close to 90+%. Last time I checked, we had 30 trades in a row. So I said to Jonathan, let's program, I can't do this every day, but let's program this to do it automatically the days I'm not trading the One Ticker. I called it Orion. Never had an opening day with any program that like Orion that I've had, because people love it. Every day they know what to do with their portfolio, they know what to do. It scans the entire market, throws it in there, and comes out whether it be long or short. Gives you the exact options to play, tells you the target, and I like the price options they use. Easy to figure. If you got 1,000 you're putting up, you do 10. And if it's not working, we use the 72-hour rule, we exit. But this is, I use that word, One Ticker on steroids, but it's automatic. Yesterday's signal gave you 22%. In fact, if you took what we made yesterday with the automated alone and with what I'm about to do, you'd pay for yourself in one day. Y'all like that? If you're serious about trading, where you can pay for everything in one day with all four of them. So I worked up a plan today. I don't know what made me do this, but I said, I got to get people to have this because I want you to succeed. And I got master classes for all of them. The Orion dashboard is a 4th generation version. It's the best of the best dashboards. And it's just really great. When it's time to trade, Orion lets us know. Like Tommy Boy here said, go short, like I did yesterday in live trading. There's the trade, buying a put. Great trade. Orion signal will be coming out the windows between 12 and 2. Automated analysis at DTI, the 4 beautiful things that we have set up for you. Now this special deal, I talked to Adam about this. I said, Adam, I want a can't say no price. I'm tired of working with people not making money because they don't listen. So this is the time you need to listen. I'm going to put it out there on the line for you, and you're going to have a chance. One special deal. Here it comes. Today, I priced it at Black Friday pricing, $19.99. call 904-706-3532. 4 programs hand delivered to you. If you're serious about trading, don't trade without it. Call again. If you need help, call 904-706-3532 if you got any questions. Does anybody have any questions for me? It's been a great day. And what I'm going to do, just to say how happy I am, I'm going to let everybody come to an open house of live trading at 1:30. How you like that? To give you a little extra sugar today. Yeah, they'll take into account. Call Kelly, Wendy. She'll help you. Call 904-706-3532. This is the deal. This is the deal.
Tom, we also have Kelly Barber and Jeffrey Andraka in the room this morning. So if you'd rather talk to Jeffrey or Kelly directly, just post your phone number, right? And they'll give you a call this morning here. I guess it's this afternoon at this point, but yeah. Just put your name and your phone number.
Get the call out of the way, get signed up, and then everybody be there at 1:30 for live trading. Sean, if you want to call and join this, they'll take that in consideration, give you a little special, okay? Call Kelly or Jeffrey. They need the link to join in the chat. Jonathan, can you put the link to join in the chat?
I just verified that this is a call only deal. It's that big of a special. It's a call only deal. So make sure you give us a call, 904-706-3532. Or like I said, Jeffrey and Kelly are right here, right now. Jeffrey's messaging me right at this second. So post your name and phone number.
Yeah, put their email in the chat where they can send an email if they get bombarded. I want them to give everybody the discount. And they've got the power to make adjustments. Say you got sunrise, they'll make an adjustment for it if you call them. That's an example.
There we go.
Take this deal. I want everybody that likes the automated analysis, automatic trading side of it to have this as we go into April. We're going to make some money together. We got master classes on all of them. And so it's going to be a heck of a deal. I'm really going to put some focus on it. It's time to take it to the next level. And if you listen, like you said you would, when I asked that question, make it happen. You got an hour to make it happen before I get started at 1:30. And I think I've done it, Jonathan. I can't do any more than that.
Really enjoyed the session this morning.
Oh, I know what I was going to do. I got a special for you. If you take the full package, I will give you 90 days. That's right, 90 days, not the standard 14 days. If you take that price, tell them to know they got 90 days to try everything, but they got to sign up today to get that deal. I don't believe, I'm just trying to get new people to take it and take advantage of what I'm saying. I'm that confident you'll never want a refund, but if you come in there, you're going to get to see it and let it work for you. That'll give you a scholarship for sure. If you know how to spell trading. Trading. There you go. That's a cheat sheet. All right. Tell Kelly and Jeffrey to note those that signed up. They had 90 days.
We'll do, Tom, and we'll get together and schedule that master class for next week, at least one.
Yep. I think we ought to do about one a week.
Sounds good.
Start out with sunrise. Go chronologically in order.
Works for me. Makes sense.
Folks, have no doubt, if you're trading with anybody else, have no doubt, this is where you want to trade in April. Make it happen. Be there. And I'll be back live at 1:30. Yeah, Wendy had a bunch of services. She just dropped to be with me. That says something right there. Jim, I'm gonna have to call you today. I'll call you in this hour, okay? Look for a call. All right, thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you. See you at 1:30.
Huh?
Thank you. See you at 1:30.